I know there is a great story idea inside of you, and today you'll learn how to develop it from writer-director Jorge Gutiérrez.
Hi, Jorge. Welcome to Write for Animation. It's great to have you here.
Pietro, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
Jorge is the creator of El Tigre for Nickelodeon, the Book of Life produced by Guillermo del Toro, and the new upcoming Netflix film Ay Chihuahua. Today, he's going to guide you through the creative process behind his epic TV show Maya and the Three. I'm screenwriter Pietro Schito, and welcome back to Write for Animation, the channel that helps you become a professional animation screenwriter. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I post a new video. Maya and the Three is a 9-episode Netflix series that tells the story of Maya, the princess of the Tekka kingdom. On her 15th birthday, it is revealed that she's actually the daughter of Lady Micte, goddess of death. She also learns that Lord Mictlan, god of war, wants to take her back to the underworld and sacrifice her. To avoid this, Maya must gather the heroes of the prophecy to fight Lord Mictlan.
This is a huge project. How do you even structure something like that?
The way I envisioned this thing from the beginning was always 3 movies. Right, so I love Seven Samurai, I love The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, I love giant movies. And those movies tend to be over 3 hours, sometimes 4. And so I thought no one in animation will ever let me tell a 4-hour movie. No one.
Until Netflix gave Jorge the space to create something unique. You see, when writing for TV, you find 2 kinds of shows, episodic or serialized. Episodic refers to stories that are self-contained in one episode. The characters and the world are always the same with very few changes over time. It kind of feels like the show reboots itself after every episode ends. On the other hand, serialized refers to a story that takes multiple episodes to tell. If you were to skip one episode, you would miss an important piece of the story. Most animated TV shows are either episodic or a hybrid, which means that they are episodic but with enough serialized content to create an overarching story. Back in TV days, episodic or serialized formats were very strict because they had to fill the rhythm of commercial breaks and also adhere to a strict production and airing times. Thanks to streaming platforms, many decisions are now made based on what's best for the story.
Every time Netflix saw it, we had done an internal pass for the whole crew. Netflix would give their notes, and then to me it was, well, now I get another opportunity to make it even better. So for me, that's the luxury of feature animation, which is you have more time to do more iterations to hopefully make it better. The problem with feature is people start overthinking it, and things that were funny a year ago aren't funny anymore, so then they cut them, and then there's just too many opposing views. And the movie becomes whatever stage the movie was at when they run out of time. That's when I watch a lot of feature animation and go, oh, they just ran out of time. The problem with television animation is there's no time. So you write a script, you get your notes, you board it, you get your notes, and they make it a cartoon, which is thrilling and exhilarating, but at the same time, there's no breathing room to do iterations to make it better. The combination of those 2 things is what we were aiming for on Maya. The issue and the problem was we weren't making a big TV show, we were making 3 movies. So it wasn't enough time. When I laid it out, I said it'll be a giant movie cut up into 9 episodes. And then if you watch Lord of the Rings, movie 2 and movie 3 of Lord of the Rings, they basically start with cold opens. You get to see backstories. So that's where I grabbed that from. I said, oh, I finally get to tell all the backstories, because I write backstories for all my characters. I basically get to tell the backstories, because sometimes you hear about them, but now we get to see them.
A cold open is the first scene of a TV episode right before the title card or opening credits. They capture the attention of the viewer while establishing the tone and themes of the episode. For example, in the cold open of episode 3, The Rooster, we see a ceremony in Luna Island. Every kid performs magic in front of Gran Brujo, and they're all doing great, except for Rico, who fails again and again, until, in a burst of anger, he uses peasant magic that ends up destroying the school and killing Gran Brujo.
It's okay, Kaito.
By the time the title credits appear, we've already learned everything we need to know about Rico. He's insecure and has been ridiculed before. He had a deep attachment to Gran Brujo and feels guilty for his death. He's able to use peasant magic, but it's dangerous, so he refuses to unleash it. The episode just started, but we already empathize with a character that's new to the story, and we want to see how all this information will come to play later. Other characters like Chimi, Pichu, and Lady Micte are also introduced in a similar way. As the series goes on, these characters grow and make decisions we wouldn't understand if we hadn't learned about their backstories first.
I'm ready when you are.
How could you side with humans now?
And then I had this giant whiteboard, because I'm a whiteboard guy now, and I basically laid out, all right, first episode is this, here's the map. Like, I basically structured it like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and I really sort of said, this is that type of adventure.
If we were to see the entire story of Maya as a movie, we'd notice that it follows a general 3-act structure, with a clear setup, a development, and a climax and resolution. Each episode also follows its 3-act structure.
I always talk about structure, right? So I'm a big structure guy. It was hammered into me, 3-act structure, or 4-act structure, right? Because Act 2A and Act 2B. So that was hammered into me. I took screenwriting in school, and then I remember in story at Cal Arts, they make you read 3 books. They make you read Save the Cat, they make you read Screenwriting, and then they make you read Robert McKee's story. And what they tell you is, even if you don't use the structure, you have to know it. Just like drawing, right? You gotta know the rules before you can break them. And if you're really, really smart, you can start deciphering certain things. And one of my favorite things I was taught was bad movies, a lot of bad movies, have really good structure.
Right.
And a lot of really good movies have no structure. But there are more good movies with good structure than with no structure. So it's not the structure that makes the movie good. It's the way the structure is used.
This brings us to character arcs. With a longer runtime comes the opportunity to develop your characters more profoundly. That is the key to writing an epic story like Maya's. Track how each character develops over the series of episodes.
The hardest thing, honestly, was balance of all the characters. Keeping all those characters interesting, because we would literally go, oh shit, we forgot Calmillo. Oh shit, we forgot Chapa. Oh my God, Pichu hasn't said anything for 7 pages. Like, just keeping them constant and what are they feeling and how are they reacting to things was really hard. I would also watch movies with a lot of characters. For example, Big Hero 6. And I talked to Chris Williams and Don Hall about it. There was no time in that movie to give every one of those characters an arc. There's just not enough time, right? There's literally not enough screen time. You gotta hit all the main characters and the villain. Just no time. In Maya, because we had 270 minutes, I was able to actually give everybody not only a setup, a backstory, and a whole arc. And I'm a big fan of movies that pay off the arc all the way at the end, all at the same time. Paddington 2 is the last example of a movie that did that I really love.
Yeah.
So for Maya, I literally had graphs where I went, whose arc is going to end where are they hitting, where are their resolutions, and then how do they all team up, and how do they all intertwine? And it was math. This wasn't like artistry. It was literally technicalities and putting all the episodes up and going, who hits what, emotionally, the love story, where's that going to climax, the resolution with her parents, the resolution with the villain, the resolution with our moms, like it all had to hit towards the end.
There is a great storytelling advice here. Have everything lead to the climax. Every decision and every action Maya takes leads to her eventual confrontation with Lord Mictlan. From unraveling the true meaning of the prophecy, to searching for the warriors and fighting against gods, to teaming up with Zatz, to forgiving Lady Micte, and finally, spoiler alert, to her sacrifice. Everything comes back to the climax of the story and the lesson the main character has to learn. For Maya, it's about discovering what it means to be a hero.
Then you need a ticking clock. I know it's a cliche, but you need the time is clicking, because then there's no tension, right? If it's like, I have 50 years to figure something out, and then there's no tension. It's got to be now. And that once those things are moving, it's got to keep going. And then you always have to ask, what happens if they don't get it, right? So if Maya dies, it's really bad, right? Stakes. If Maya fails, what happens? Like you gotta start making those things really, really obvious, but really emotional. So for example, for Maya, the moment she decides to sacrifice herself, the last thing she thinks of is her brother and her sister, her baby brothers. So she's going, if I go, the next generation will make it. Because it's one thing to save my parents, but it's another thing to save those that are coming after me. So those are the type of decisions that if you can get the audience to feel what the main character is feeling, and if you can empathize and go, there's no other way. This is the only way to do this. And the cost will be monumental, but you have to do it. That transcends culture, it transcends time, it transcends that relationship between the audience and the artist.
By the final episode, every storyline needs to have come to a close.
Mercy is never a mistake.
And at the end, their inner growth gets rewarded.
I am so sorry I was not there for you, mi niña.
And I always knew the ending. When I pitched the show, you know, for anybody who's seen Mind the Three, I basically said, the ending is this, and here's how we get there. And that's how I pitched Book of Life. Book of Life was, here's a bullfighter who says, apologizes to all the bulls that his family has killed. And that's the climax. And everything after that is a resolution. But I always start with, what's the giant, big thing at the end? And then I backwards engineer it.
This has been wonderful. Thank you for being here at Ripe for Animation, and I hope to see you soon.
Pietro, thank you. These questions are awesome. Awesome.
If you'd like to learn about how Maya and the Three is structured, check out our free PDF where we break down the series. The link is down below. And if you are struggling with your story, I'd love to help. Shoot me an email to pietro@writeforanimation.com. I read all of them and I'll do my best to answer you. Tell me, what is a movie with a character who's got a great backstory? Thanks for watching, and now go write something great.
Hey, if it is to be.
It is up to me.